There's a sound a house used to make. You know the one. The creak of a screen door swinging shut on a spring afternoon, the tick of a radiator warming up on a cold morning, the low hum of conversation drifting from the kitchen while supper simmered on the stove. Houses had a sound back then, and a smell, and a feeling the moment you walked through the door. And somewhere along the way we lost it. Walk into a brand new home today and it's beautiful, it's spotless, it's quiet as a tomb, but it doesn't feel like anything. The truth is, what made those old houses feel like home was never the house itself. It was a handful of small, everyday habits that the people inside practiced without even thinking about it. Little rituals, repeated day after day, that turned four walls into a place your heart still goes when you close your eyes. Today we're going to walk back through 15 of them, and stay with me to the end, because the last one is the simplest of all, and it's the one I'd give anything to feel just one more time. So pour yourself a cup of coffee, find your most comfortable chair, and settle in with me for a little while. We're in no hurry today. These are the habits that made a house breathe, the ones our parents and grandparents kept without ever calling them anything special. They just called it living. And before we start, do an old friend a favor and tell me down in the comments where you grew up and what your childhood home smelled like when you walked in the door after school. I read every single one, and those memories are half the reason I make these videos at all. All right, let's open that screen door and step inside. Number 1. The house had a rhythm, and supper was the heartbeat of it. There was a time, every single evening, when the whole family came together at the table. Not the couch, not in front of a screen, the table. Mother would call out that supper was ready, and from every corner of the house, everybody came. You washed your hands, you sat in your own chair, the same chair you always sat in, and for that half hour the day got told. Who got in trouble at school, what the neighbors said over the fence, what was worrying your father about work. It wasn't fancy. Some nights it was just beans and cornbread. But the food was never really the point. The point was that every day, no matter what, there was one moment when the whole family was in one room looking at each other. Bring that back even just a couple nights a week. Turn everything off and sit down together. You'll be amazed what your family will tell you when there's nothing else competing for their eyes. Number 2. Windows were opened, and the house was allowed to breathe. On the first warm morning of spring, the first thing Mother did was throw open every window in the house. The old stale winter air went rushing out, and in came the smell of cut grass and lilacs and rain on warm pavement. The curtains would billow. You could hear the birds, the kids down the street, a lawnmower somewhere. A house that breathed felt alive. Today we seal ourselves up tight, run the air conditioning from May to September, and never once let the outside in. But there's something a sealed box can never give you. Open your windows on a fine day. Let the breeze move through your rooms. It costs you absolutely nothing. It freshens the whole house better than any spray from a can, and it connects you to the day in a way you forgot you missed. A house should never feel like a sealed jar. It should feel like it's breathing right along with you. Number 3. Something was almost always cooking, and the smell of it filled every room. You knew what day it was by what the kitchen smelled like. Bread on baking day, that warm, yeasty smell that got into the curtains and the carpet and your very soul. A pot of soup on the back burner, simmering all afternoon. Coffee in the morning strong enough to wake the dead. The smell of a home-cooked meal was the first thing that greeted you at the door, and it said, without a single word, you are home, and somebody here was thinking of you. We've traded it for takeout containers and microwave dinners eaten standing up. But you don't have to cook a feast. Simmer a pot of soup. Bake a simple loaf. Let an onion brown slowly in a pan. The smell alone will do something to your house that no candle or air freshener ever could. It tells everyone who walks in that this is a place where somebody cares. Number 4. The beds were made, and the house was tidied first thing every morning. Before the day really got going, before you sat down for 1 minute, The beds got made and the front room got straightened. It wasn't about being fussy. There was a quiet wisdom to it. A made bed and a picked-up room set the whole tone for the day. It told you that you had your house in order, and so you could face whatever the day brought. And when somebody dropped by unannounced, and back then people did just drop by, you were never caught flat-footed and ashamed. Start your morning by making your bed. Just that one small thing. It takes 2 minutes, and it gives you one small victory before your feet have hardly hit the floor. A house that's tended first thing in the morning feels calm all day long. A house that's let go feels heavy. Our mothers knew that in their bones. Number 5. There was always a chair by the window, and somebody sat in it. Every home had that spot. A comfortable chair near the window where you could watch the world go by. Grandma's chair where she sat with her mending or her crossword or just her own quiet thoughts, watching the street, nodding at neighbors. It wasn't wasted time, it was rest. It was paying attention to your own life instead of racing through it. Sitting and watching the rain or the snow falling under the streetlight or the kids playing in the yard. We've forgotten how to simply sit. We feel we must always be doing, always be scrolling, always be busy. Make yourself a spot by a window. Put a good chair there. And let yourself sit in it with nothing in your hands but maybe a warm cup. You'll find your mind settles in a way it hasn't in years. A home needs a place where a body can just be still. Number 6. The radio or the record player gave the house a voice, and the family gathered around it. Before every person in the house disappeared into their own little screen in their own separate room, there was one source of music or stories, and everybody shared it. The radio in the kitchen during supper, the record player in the front room on a Sunday afternoon, the same well-loved albums played until you knew every crack and pop. Music filled the shared spaces, and it pulled people toward each other instead of scattering them apart. A house had a soundtrack, and the whole family lived inside it together. Put some music on out loud in your home again, in the room where people gather, not through headphones locked inside your own head. Let it fill the space. It changes the whole feeling of a house, and it gives everybody something to share instead of something to hide behind. Number 7. The porch was used, and the family sat out front where the world could see them. On a warm evening, the work done and the dishes washed, folks went out and sat on the front porch. Not the back deck, hidden away behind a tall fence. The front porch facing the street, facing the world, and the neighbors did the same. You waved, you called out a hello. Sometimes somebody wandered over and sat a spell, and an hour passed in easy talk while the lightning bugs came out and the kids ran wild in the last of the daylight. The front porch was where a house met its neighborhood. And if you're enjoying this little walk back in time, do me a kindness and tap that subscribe button. It's free. And it tells the good Lord and the algorithm both that you'd like more of these old memories brought back to life. Now, we're not even halfway through, and I haven't forgotten what I promised you. That last habit is still coming, the simplest one of all. But there's a lot of house left to walk through first. Number 8. The whole family pitched in on the work, and chores were done together. Saturday morning meant everybody had a job. One swept, one dusted, one ran the carpet sweeper, one helped in the kitchen. The little ones were given small tasks they could be proud of. It wasn't punishment, and it wasn't one poor soul slaving away while everyone else hid. It was the family taking care of the family's home, side by side, and there was a closeness in it. You talked while you worked. You learned how things were done. You felt that this was your home too, and you had a hand in keeping it. Bring the family in on the work again. Children who help care for a home grow up respecting it, and respecting the work that goes into a life. A house that everybody tends together belongs to everybody. And that sense of belonging is exactly what makes 4 walls feel like home. Number 9. There were houseplants on the sills, and somebody tended them like old friends. African violets on the kitchen windowsill. A spider plant hanging in the corner, trailing down. A Christmas cactus that bloomed faithful as clockwork every single year, often older than the children. Mother watered them, turned them toward the light, talked to them a little, maybe, when she thought nobody was listening. Living, growing things made a house feel alive. They softened the hard edges of a room and gave a person something to nurture and watch grow. We fill our homes with plastic and electronics now, things that just sit there, cold and dead. Put a few living plants in your rooms, tend to them, watch them reach for the light. A home with growing things in it feels cared for because it is. And caring for something green and alive is good for the soul in a way that's hard to put into words. Number 10. The good dishes came out, and ordinary days were treated as worth celebrating. There was the everyday china, and then there was the good set, kept in the cabinet for Sundays, for holidays, for company. But the wise homes understood something. They didn't save the good things only for some far-off special day that might never come. They'd bring out the nice tablecloth for a regular Sunday supper, light a candle on an ordinary Tuesday, use the cloth napkins just because. It told the family that this day, this meal, this gathering was worth a little extra, that you were worth it. We tend to save our best for special occasions and live our daily lives out of the cheap and the disposable. Use your good things. Light the candle tonight. The special occasion is that you're all here, alive, together. That's worth the good dishes any day of the week. Number 11. The door was open to neighbors and a pot of coffee was always ready. Somebody knocked or just hollered through the screen door, and they were waved right in. There was always coffee on, or it took 2 minutes to put a pot on. And folks sat at the kitchen table and visited. No appointment, no text message 3 days ahead asking to schedule a time. Just the easy, open-door rhythm of people who were part of each other's daily lives. The kitchen table was the busiest social club in America, and the price of admission was nothing but your company. We've grown so private now, so guarded, so scheduled. Leave the door open a little, figuratively speaking. Tell a neighbor to drop by any time, and mean it. Keep the coffee ready. A home that welcomes people in, easy and unplanned, is a home that's truly alive. The lonely houses are the ones with the doors always shut. Number 12, things were fixed, not thrown away, and the house was full of mended, loved objects. When a chair leg wobbled, Father got out the glue and the clamps. When a sock wore through, Mother darned it. When the toaster quit, somebody opened it up on the kitchen table and had a go at it. Nothing was tossed at the first sign of trouble. And because of that, a home filled up over the years with objects that had stories. The lamp that got rewired twice. The quilt patched with scraps from old dresses. The table with the scratch from the Christmas the puppy got loose. These weren't flaws. They were the rings in the tree, the proof of a life lived in those rooms. We buy everything new and cheap and replaceable now, and our homes have no memory in them. Fix something instead of tossing it. Keep the things that carry your story. A house full of mended, meaningful things is a house with a soul. Number 13. Sundays were different, and the house slowed down to a gentle stop. Whatever Sunday meant in your home, church or no church, there was a feeling to it. The pace eased. The big meal came in the early afternoon, and the whole family lingered at the table long after the plates were clean. The afternoon stretched out lazy and slow, a nap in the chair, a walk after dinner. Letters written, naps taken, nowhere in particular to be. Sunday was the day the house exhaled. We've let every day blur into the same busy, buzzing sameness now, no rhythm to the week at all. Pick one day. Make it slow on purpose. Cook something that takes its time, turn off the noise, let the house get quiet and easy for a few hours. A home needs a day to rest, the same as a person does. And the family that rests together stays gently woven together. Number 14. The home kept its traditions, and the same small things happened every year like clockwork. The
Давайте.
same ornaments came out of the same box every December, each one with a story. The birthday breakfast was always the same favorite meal, Sunday pancakes, the first fire of autumn, putting up the storm windows, canning tomatoes when the garden came in heavy. These little repeated rituals year after year were the stitches that held a family's life together. They gave the children something to count on, something solid in a world that's always shifting under our feet. And speaking of holding on to what matters, if these memories are stirring something in you, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't yet, and ring that little bell so the next one of these finds its way to you. Keep your traditions, even the small and silly ones, especially the small ones. They are the heartbeat of a family's year, and they turn a house into the place where your story lives. And now, number 15, the one I've been promising you since the very beginning. And it's the simplest thing of all. In those old homes, people were truly present with one another. That's it. That's the whole secret. When you talk to someone, you look them in the eye. When the family was in a room together, they were actually together, not each lost in a separate glowing world. When a child showed you a drawing, you stopped and you looked at it. When your husband or your wife told you about their day, you listened with your whole self. There was a kind of attention in those homes that we have almost completely lost. Nobody was half here, glancing down at a screen, somewhere else in their mind. They were just there, with you. And that, more than the smell of bread or the open windows or the made beds, is what truly made a house feel like a home, because a home was never really a building at all. It was the feeling of being seen and known and paid attention to by the people who loved you. Here is why this is the one I'd give anything to feel again. Those people who gave us their whole attention, so many of them are gone now. And what I wouldn't give for one more afternoon where my mother set down what she was doing, looked me right in the eye, and listened to every word like it was the most important thing in the world. We can't get those afternoons back, but we can give them to the people who are still right here with us. So tonight, when someone you love speaks to you, set the phone down, look at them, listen all the way. That is the habit that makes a home. And it's free, and it's available to you this very evening, and it is worth more than everything else on this list combined. So that's our walk back through the old home. The supper table and the open windows, the something always cooking and the made bed in the morning, the porch, the plants, the good dishes, the open door, and most of all, the simple gift of paying real attention to the people we love. Not one of these things cost much of anything. They weren't about money, or a fancy house, or the right furniture. They were about care, repeated daily, until a building filled up with love and became a home. And the wonderful thing is, every single one of them is still within your reach, starting this very day. Now, I'd truly love to hear from you. Of everything we talked through today, which one do you miss the most? And tell me, whose home are you picturing right now? Your mother's? Your grandmother's? Your own from years ago? I'll be down in the comments reading every last one.